Damn, I don't know the... dun, dun, dun. I could just do the wait, hold on. I just knocked over so much junk. Why do I have... Dude, why is this... Oh, okay. I thought it was, like... I thought it was, like, in the wire. You have to bend this crap up to your face. I still can't reach it. I have to really... But then you have to sing into it like this. So you have to go through. Damn. What is this? What is this? What is this? No. The harmonica is a bit annoying. That's why I'm like, nah, this is annoying. Some of the keys sound good. E does sound good for some things, but then it just immediately makes me like just want to play like the goofiest rock and roll shit ever. That you're just like, oh yeah, I'm locked into that a little too much. Where are we going here? Because I really don't want to do this for that long. Probably like 30 minutes. Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, it's like. this one was like this, right? I'm so bad at this. Okay. What are we at? We're at 23. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to start talking about stuff. People are so boring right now. I just watched an iDubbbz video. Somebody talking over an iDubbbz video, and I didn't think that would be a thing still in 2025. But yeah, was it like 10 years later? I don't want to see people age like that. I don't want to see people. I don't want to see people who are like. It's the same thing with Filthy Frank. Like I can't even do the persona. Like that just ends at that for me. So. All these people are entertainers, but they're not very entertaining. That's the problem. Instrument to play in the world. This thing, guitar is so easy. I don't really get it. So dumb. Also, I got suggested some drummer cringe, insane drummer cringe, like insane drummer cringe, like on the level of like oh like mind blowingly like started recording and it was like no if I upload this video this is just gonna like open some can of worms. It's not worth it. But I found somebody's like they just left on me. It's fine. I found somebody's like their like vlog. It's like their re-upload for their vlog channel that clearly got BTFO'd. First of all, if you're going to teach, make sure your heart's in the right place because you may not know what you're doing at all. And when you want to teach, remember, you should actually know how to do what you're doing. And not just be one lesson ahead of all your students. I thought that was just a joke from The Simpsons, but no, that apparently is a real thing people do in real life. Which I didn't think would be real, but apparently it's real. And you got to know. It's very annoying. Anyways, I don't really mind. Here's the thing. It's one of those things. It's one thing to think about it from the perspective of like, okay, this is actually somebody trying to play an instrument. It's a different thing when you realize that somebody trying to teach an instrument, which is very difficult. When somebody tries to teach an instrument and they don't know how to play, just imagine you go to your guitar tutor and they're like, okay, well, the song goes... Hold on, I fucked up. And the song is supposed to be. And it's like the easiest thing in the world, and you're like, why can't you just do those two chords? Like, you know, that sort of thing. It's that sort of channel. It's that sort of channel, but for drums. So it was very, very distraught for me to watch that. And like also all the other stuff that's like just all about how like you won't. I can't even get into it. It's too cringe for me. Like I can't like. The only way I can describe it is there's a scene where this person is trying to play a Queens of the Stone Age song, and they number one they're not playing it right, which is I don't care, like that's fine, whatever. But it not only not playing it right, but like keep fucking it up over and over again, and then posting it on to be like, hey, this is really encouraging to my students. It's like, I hate to break this to you, but like it's not. The only thing that, okay, so I'm still like reeling off of that because only for one reason, one particular reason. It's the fact that this person said, I was in bands for a few years and I didn't like it. And as soon as I thought about that, I was like, oh man, either you were trying to be the singer and you didn't play drums and people didn't like you for some other reason, or you're lying. Like maybe you just don't like playing because you don't know how to play. But that's besides the point. That's like why you go to school to learn. But you don't go to school to learn and then not get better, right? shut up and play guitar. Padding it out. Oh, it has been 30 minutes. Okay, so it should be okay. Yeah, I don't really want to go over that stuff. Dude, it is for my own I was thinking about just making my own thing. Also, well, I need to remind everybody to join the Discord server because nobody's joined so far. Absolutely nobody has joined the Discord server. I don't think that that's possible. I think he does like. He was like. I don't even know what the lyrics to Optimo are. I know the lyrics to White Lies. White Lines. White Lies. Probably know the lyrics to that too. Yeah, probably cut out of this pretty soon. No, I mean, I really can't. I want to do that video, but it's really like too much hater energy on that one, because it's like there's no views on this person's channel. Like I had to like go down that rabbit hole of being like, oh, there's too much content. It's like I realize it's like just like watching my own content. The only difference is that like I'm not trying to do this professionally in any way or shape or form. It's just like a log, like a document of my life. And so I find it really weird when like people, first of all, is if you want to learn to play music, I just be in a band, like, because if you want, ultimately, like, what's the goal of playing music, right? It's playing music with other people. Like, there's no other goal of playing music. So if you're trying to be like, I'm gonna do this to teach and no other reason, then I think your heart's probably not in the right place, like, to begin with. I think if you can't play music with other people, I don't really get what the point. Like, what is the point of teaching music if you don't even play music with other people? So that's kind of weird. So, that like, but the amount of hater energy that I've been giving off recently has been pretty intense, and I've been trying to cut back from that, which has been a little difficult, considering, you know, just how much bullshit has been going on in the world. Quickly to wrap up this before before I go do this, and we'll probably I might do an RFS tonight, either tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. Because I'll be trying to get back in the swing of things. I do need to clean up this room over here, and it's 11 something, so I gotta get some food. Just fucking video, man. Like it's when you get, because YouTube. I'll try to explain this as best as I can. Just real quick, my YouTube algorithm, as I've explained in a couple other streams, continuously suggests me YouTubers that are in the same ballpark as me when it comes to the content creation and absorption from other people. So it means, like, how many people can you catch in your content? Like, how good are you at being able to grab people and keep them onto your channel? I'm not very good at keeping them on my channel, but I can grab people, like, a little bit, just enough. This has been going on for a few months, maybe a year, that I've just started to notice this. So it'll always suggest me one video in the feed at the top in the same location. If I reload the page, it'll always be there, and it'll always be under like 1,000 or under, typically around 350 views. These content creators are usually kind of crazy, although the algorithm will continue, depending on how I'm clicking, what I'm watching, it will find different types of people. So usually it's like cooking channels, sometimes there'll be travel channels, sometimes it's usually vlog kind of style stuff. And then it'll start suggesting me like under the channels that have no views or re-upload channels. and I got that recently, and that's what this one was. So recently, I've been like getting more of those. And re-upload channels typically mean one thing, right? It means that you got butthurt because of somebody in the comments, and you deleted your whole channel, and then you try to rebrand yourself. That's what happens. I mean, I get that. That's what happens with that. But my issue with that sort of thing is if you're trying to make the channel, you do have to, one, be able to back up the fact that you are actually capable. I mean, I get it. Like, people can play drums for 17 years and still not be very good. Like, you play drums when you were a child, didn't play drums for 12 years, and then play drums for the next 5 years, and then want to be like, well, I've been playing drums for 17 years. That's not the same thing as consistently playing in bands for 17 years. Like, having physical memory of the types of music that you've been playing, like, meaning like you could jump back into a band and go back in and just be naturally there and play songs, no problem. That's not what I'm seeing in these videos. And what scares me about that is that those are the skills that you need to be able to teach. Like, you can't teach until you get to that point. If you're teaching without that, what you're teaching is like, it would be like a dyslexic person teaching English. Like, being confused and not being able to explain things to you properly, and not being able to show you how to physically do the, even verbally do the thing. Getting confused and just like not being able to like really give you great directions. That's how it is. And I think that like those kinds of people, man, like they're always going to be there. They're going to be out there. And like you, if you have a kid, this is the first thing. If you are looking at a video that's just fun, no, I guess this is more like you're looking at a video that's like, if you're a beginner musician and you're looking at a video that's saying, hey, it was advice on buying your first instrument. The advice should be about instrument, not about like the culture around it. It should be about the actual instrument itself. So in drums, I'll say my own personal opinion of what you should do in if you're a beginner, because drums are very expensive. If you're a beginner, you should probably go look for a cheapo drum set. They're especially out there now. Like Donner, the Amazon brand, exists, and they're not the worst sounding drums in the world. They're decent drums. You could get a used Donner kit for $200, easy, with the original heads. Probably not played very much. You could probably buy one off of somebody who doesn't want to play very much anymore, or didn't want to learn, because they're loud and it's kind of difficult to get. If you are in a practice studio and you're just looking to get a drum set so that you could play with other people, by all means, go find those cheapo drum sets. Go on Goodwill finds and look for them. Now, if you're like an actually seriously, like you've just been playing on the practice pad for weeks on end and you're getting good and you're just like, man, I really wish that I had a drum set. The first thing that I would say is look into the brands, look into what your players play, listen. That's the first thing. It's like, first of all, if you can't explain what you're looking for, then you can't do what you need to do as a musician. Like, you can't, like, I mean, you got to be able to explain what you have. And the first thing that you got to be able to do is, for drums, is be able to say, what makes it sound good, what makes it sound bad? Well, we know what makes drums sound good. The things that make drums sound good are all the things that the engineers that put the work into the drums themselves actually achieved. The other thing is the tuning of the drum, the heads themselves. So you combine these two elements, right? You have a drum that is solidly built, it's as near to a perfect circle as it possibly can be, and solid ring. You want high tension capability. So you either want wood that is multi-ply, that's been glued together. So higher plies you typically mean more rigidity, and lower plies typically mean less rigidity, which means that you have more wavering in the wood. And then if you're talking about metal, you're getting really, really fine precision because you have a very thin wall and a very rigid structure. So you have lots of high harmonic tones versus wood, which will have less of those high harmonic tones. So you're getting more of the mid-range and the lower frequencies. These are things that you, as a drummer, won't know right away. You'll learn these as time goes on. But it's the sort of thing that when you're starting out, you've got to ask people, like, well, what should I get as a starting drummer? It's like, well, first of all, where are you practicing? At your parents' house? You want to save, you don't want to be super loud, so you probably don't need a giant drum set. You probably just need a 4-piece kit. You probably don't need enormous drums. You probably just need like a 13 and a 16 and a 20. And then as far as the padding goes, Aquarian Super Kick 2, always. Some sort of padded ring. You can get an Evian or you can get a Remo, but I personally say the Aquarian Super Kick 2 with the muffled ring, and then you could put like a pillow or something in there. Go to Target, go buy like a $3 pillow, giant pillow, stuff it in there, and it'll mute the bass drum by a lot. Then you can always go buy like a silent stroke style head, of course, if you're just trying to like do the practice style thing, but I don't suggest that. I suggest having something that sounds like a drum set. So starting out with something like an Aquarian Super Kick 2, you want like your proper heads on your drums. The brands that you probably want to start out with are honestly, like anytime that you can get the Japanese brands, Tama, Yamaha, but I'll say Yamaha, you want to get the higher end stuff, not the lower end stuff, because it's pretty low quality. The Yamaha stuff that's classics and customs, those are really 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 good, but the stuff below, like I had a high school class where we destroyed a drum set basically just from having it around. It was just cheap, it didn't last, and kids just beat the fuck out of it and just broke it. Older brands from other brands that had sides. So my first drum set was an Olympic by Premier. So Premier is a coveted brand, but really what was going on in the 90s is they were pumping out drum sets like crazy, and those drum sets sounded pretty good for cheapo drum sets. You want to look for those sorts of things, but you're looking for really the good style hardware that will hold up and last and work. So brands like Gretsch, Tama, to a certain degree, Ludwig, although because you get accents and stuff like that, of course Ludwig, the other brand, the American brand, but you could get into like the higher end and your crazy stuff like that. You don't need to do that right away as a beginner drummer. For a beginner drum set, you probably just want to go for something that's like, I just noticed that kicked on because the lights went down. You want to get something that's probably pretty decent, not super huge. 4 or 5 piece kit. Tama would be great. Like a beginner start was a Star Classic, like something like that. Even if you are serious about learning how to play drums, like you've already been like playing like a drum set at school, then that's on. But drum sets are not the most important thing. I'd say cymbals are definitely more important than the actual kit itself. Your kit itself could probably be done up to be sonically decent enough to play within a couple minutes with a couple pieces of equipment, a couple changes of heads and things like that. You could easily get it to sound great. The big thing that you would want to do is get upgraded cymbals, and I mean upgraded cymbals. I mean like go onto like used sites, go to like Guitar Center and Goodwill Finds, stuff like that, and try to look for package deals of like large groups of cymbals that might have old stuff with new stuff, because that's your best bet at getting good sounding stuff, is stuff that might be cheapened because it's paired up with cheaper cymbals. The more expensive stuff might get paired up with the cheaper stuff. I've talked about Goodwill Finds before. I've found good stuff there, so you can find really decent sounding cymbals if you look. You just don't know how to look yet when you're young. So if you're young and you're just starting out, you want to stay away from things like your hi-hats can be good for B8s, your ZBTs, ZHTs, anything like that. Your hi-hats are fine, totally okay for beginners if you're using your sheet hats. No problem with sheet hats. In my opinion, they're totally okay. In fact, I use the B8 13-inch hi-hats for the Sabians for recording like electronic style stuff. I think they sound really chunky and fat and nice, especially if you combine them with a nice, B20 bronze cymbal as like your main ride. You get a big contrast between the two. You won't know any of this when you're a beginner, but you want to look for stuff that's, that has the right color, basically. You don't want to look for stuff that looks orange. You want to look for stuff that looks yellow, or not yellow, like, tan, like a cymbal, something that looks like a cymbal, that's what you're looking for. If you can play the whole concept of you could go play it, then you're not going to get a good deal if you can play a drum set in a store. I'm just going to put this out there. I've never there's no such thing as getting a good deal inside of a store unless the store is like somewhere where you're taking lessons or they're cutting you a deal or something like that, or you work there, which is possible that this person works there. So works at a store and got a good deal at this music store. You will likely not be able to play the thing unless you buy it off of somebody in person at their house. If you go on like Craigslist and you go and you play, of course you'll have the option, but of course then it's kind of like you're wasting your time to a certain degree unless you know what you're doing. So I would suggest not doing that right away. I would actually suggest looking for the cheapo stuff, as cheap as you possibly can online, get your Guitar Centers and stuff like that, looking for deals, match deals, and Goodwill finds and Goodwill, shopgoodwill.com. And then lastly, like my biggest advice for people as far as drums go is you might not even be able to play them that often. Practice pads are good and everything, but if I'm being 100% honest, the electric drum sets are so advanced now that you probably don't need to go straight to that sort of drum kit. Although I would personally say if you're going to play in a band, you definitely need to at some point. But if you're just practicing on a practice level, the electric drum sets are a better practice pad than actual practice pads. There's no real reason for you to be playing the practice pads nowadays when you have electric drum sets that cost about as much, that sound pretty good now, like pretty decent ones. Or you could even, like I did, like I bought TD20 or TD12 or something like that. I gotta remember which one it was, but it's Roland. And yeah, you can MIDI out with that and then go into your drummer programs and do all sorts of stuff in there. And then that's a whole nother world that you can take off into, where it's not just drumming, but it's actually electronic programming and all sorts of production stuff that you probably would never have done before. So if you're a beginner, those are my general suggestions. Kind of got that out of the way, and